I am not a woman. I'm just a very beautiful man. Proceeds to kiss me,
Oh no.
XYZ, right? Has been texting me every day since last Friday when I gave him my number. He proceeds to tell me in the car, I don't really know how to ask this, or, I really just don't know how to bring this up, but are you a man? And I know this is not in vain. I know that God has a partner for me out in the world.
God has a trans partner for you?
Just had a man pick me up for a date. He asked me if I was a man in the car. I said yes. This man turns around and takes me back home. Now, this is a very prime example of somewhat fragile masculinity, but also dishonesty. Not on my end, but on the end of the suitor. I met him last Friday at a club when I was out with my girlfriends. At some point, we duck off, we're talking, we're chatting, we're dancing, we're like really having a good time. We're throwing banter back and forth, we're being flirty, all these things. Mind you, I am flat chested as I am not a woman. I'm just a very beautiful man. Proceeds to kiss me,
Oh no.
XYZ, right? Has been texting me every day since last Friday when I gave him my number. He proceeds to tell me in the car, I don't really know how to ask this, or, I really just don't know how to bring this up, but are you a man? And I looked at him and I was like, yes, I am. I'm just a very feminine man. He pulls over and he's like, I just want to sit over and just like kind of talk about this for a second. I've never been in this position before, so I'm just like not really sure how to handle it. I had an inkling of a thought, but I didn't want to ask you and you be offended if you were not. However, it's just not something that I'm into particularly. And I think that's part of a bigger conversation as it relates to Black men being interested in just feminine energy, period.
What?
He proceeded to apologize and he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just like felt like I needed to get this off my chest and at least just ask. But if I'm being honest, I was just like, okay, yeah, like that's fine. Like, no harm, no foul. Like, it's all good. He's like, is it okay if I just, turn around and take you back home? I'm like, absolutely. Yes, please. We sat there in silence as he like, did it a U-turn and literally dropped me back off. But it goes to show that sexuality truly is a spectrum. And while people may not be into whatever parts people have or whatever the case may be, people are just attracted to energy, period, which is okay. That's totally fine. I completely respect that. I'm not one of those gays that are like, I'm going to go get the trade and do this, that, and the third. That's really not my vibe. And if you are, I mean, pop off queen, do your big one. But I guess my biggest problem is if you had an inkling of a thought or you felt any type of way, you should have quite literally just asked and been honest from the very beginning. Here, I spent an hour and a half getting ready for a date, not really into it, but like I was like open to, just seeing what happens, what would, transpire out of the whole situation. And yet, here we are. Now, this is a first for me. I've never had this happen to me before. This is something new to me. I'm not humbled in the slightest because I'm a bad.
We're living in some crazy times. Now, I have some questions. There's a part of me that wants to think, in what mental state was this man in? I'm not trying to justify this, guys, because my belief for anybody is when in doubt, get out. Get out. I remember back before I was married, when I was single, I remember exploring the dating apps. And one thing that I noticed is they ask you if you're a man or a woman when you apply for those apps, and they believe you without any proof, without any. They don't say, "Hey, are you trans?" Right? It's man or woman, or there'll be a section that says maybe they've changed since back then, you know. But I don't remember a section that was like, "Hey, I'm trans." I don't remember that. I think they had like an other section. Back when I was trying dating apps, other women would refer to me and say, yeah, I'm on this app, so on and so forth. But you will look through those apps, and once in a while, you will stumble on a photo where you will see someone's obviously trans. And then you have women who have stronger features. And what I mean is, they're not like they're obviously, I'm sure you guys have ran into this, they're obviously not a man biologically. But it must be tough for those chicks. Because again, my rule that I would tell any man is When in doubt, get out. But my question is, did he give an excuse for the first encounter? Did he say that he was like drunk out of his mind? And what do you guys think? What do you think? Because I believe the way that this man here is responding to this whole situation, that went well. And I mean, like, it could have been a lot worse. A quick word about the sponsor of this channel, fathershaverights.com. While having a conversation with one of the expert attorneys in our prenup guide, he made a pretty shocking statement. He said, everyone has a prenup when they get married. He went on to say they're called divorce laws. And if you don't draft your own prenup, the government writes one for you. That means politicians and courts you have never met will decide what happens if your marriage ends. And while every husband, like myself, hopes that our marriage ends till death do us part, the reality is over 50% of marriages today end in divorce. So the real question here is, do you trust strangers to write your prenup, or do you want to write it with the woman you are marrying? If you'd like to take charge and learn how to draft your own prenup, hit the link pinned to the top of the comments section and take the first step in securing your marriage today.
Look at me. Like, hello? And I know this is not in vain. I know that God has a partner for me out in the world, wherever he may be. But that shit was crazy.
God has a trans partner for you?
And for my theys, my girls, my dolls out there in the world, y'all be safe out there. Truly just be safe. Because for a slight moment in time, I was actually kind of scared for a minute. But yeah, y'all, I don't know. Am I tripping? Y'all let me know what y'all think, because I've quite literally never experienced anything like this before. Like, oh my God, I'm like kind of floored.
You know, I want to get this out of the way, because this is what people hear when someone voices out their stance on these type of topics. They hear, you think you're better than me. No. When it comes to, because she mentioned it, when it comes to God, we have all fallen short, right? We have all fallen short. But may this also be a reminder to people that just because people say they do believe in a God, it does not mean the God of the Bible. Here, I want to check out this video. This was a response from another creator. Let's check it out.
Just had a man pick me up for a date. He asked me if I was a man in the car. I said yes. This man turns around and takes me back home. Now, this is a very prime example of somewhat fragile masculinity, but also dishonesty. Not on my end, but on the end of the suitor.
So it's fragile masculinity because bro didn't want to smash bananas with you? What? This situation could not have gone any better for you. Like, actually. Right. Bro said he met him at the club, right? They were cooling. They were vibing. They were bantering back and forth. They even kissed each other. They even kissed. And then bro tried to say, well, I'm flat-chested. You know what I'm saying? So he should have known I was a man. Like, there aren't women out here that are flat-chested. Long story short, they're talking all week. He picks him up and says, hey, I didn't know how to ask this over the phone because I didn't want to offend you if you ended up not being one. But are you a man? Bro said, yes, I'm a man. I'm just a very feminine man. He pulls over, mad respectful, says, I've never been put in this situation, but can I take you back home? And then he said, yeah, bet we can. But this is the part that really annoyed me.
This problem is, if you had an inkling of a thought or you felt any type of way, you should have quite literally just asked.
You know what's so effed up about this situation that I just thought about? The fact that you can't even come out and defend yourself again. like no dude who's ever been through something like this can come out, because first off, the nightmare of being in the situation where you thought someone was a woman and then having to hit them up to clarify if they're a man after you know what transpired, that's crazy. But even if he wanted to speak out about all this, he couldn't. Why? Because let's say he actually mistook this dude for a woman and he speaks out, his reputation would be kind of, come on, you're not living that down. And I know some people would argue, well, it shouldn't be like that if he was blindsided and had absolutely no idea. But come on, guys, let's be honest. We know how this would go.
And been honest from
You talking about being open and honest from the beginning, but you didn't even tell bro you was a bro.
Right.
Oh my goodness. You should be happy he didn't pop off on you.
Good point.
Respectfully.
Good point.
Mans could not have handled that any more respectful than what he did.
Right.
You're weird for not telling him that you're a man, because I know that you knew that he thought you were a woman. You should have disclosed. You're weird. Matter of fact, that's even predatorial behavior. You withheld information to get what you want. That's what you did. You knew damn well if he knew you was a man, he wouldn't have kissed you on your mouth. You are very weird.
Fact.
Y'all are not saying the quiet parts out loud when it comes to this Donnie situation, so I'm going to say it because nobody can beat my ass. Donnie put himself in that situation because a lot of gay men get off on trying to turn out straight men. 2, isn't this what the LGBT community has been fighting for? And even your allies like me fighting against violence against you guys. So you find a man who is a straight man, and he's like, I don't swing that way, Donnie. And he's respectful, and he turns around and he takes you home. He doesn't go off on you. He's not violent with you. He simply said that's not what he does, but you still had an issue. So we finally are finding men, straight men, who are not violent towards anyone against the LGBT community, and you guys still have something to say about it. And I feel like you guys need to take some kind of accountability in some of this, because you guys do like to put yourself in situations where you think you can turn out some straight men. Some of them, yes, you can. Some of them are low down. Some of them are. But there are men like the one that was with Donnie that was like, I'm straight. There's nothing wrong with, who you are, but that's just not who I am, and respectfully took him home. And then Donnie was like, oh, he's just fragile. A fragile man would have gone off on you. A fragile man would have done God knows what. So we're all happy that nothing bad happened to you. But the problem is Donnie's ego got hurt. Donnie's ego got hurt because he could not turn out the straight man. That's why he came on the internet. That's what the issue is. It has nothing to do with the man being fragile. It's just that Donnie could not turn him out. And a lot of y'all who are delusional are talking about, oh, that man knew. He had an inkling. Even if he had an inkling, in which he did, and he said, he was being respectful, by the way. This man seemed like he was incredibly emotionally intelligent, first of all. Do you know how hard it is to find men who are emotionally intelligent? He's like, I did not want to disrespect you over the phone because they've only been talking for a week after meeting at the club. So they never really saw each other outside of the club. He's like, I don't want to disrespect you, so that's why I wanted to ask you in person. And once the answer was confirmed, he's like, oh, I don't swing that way. He's allowed to change his mind. He's allowed to say, yeah, no, I didn't think this is what I thought it was, so I'm changing. This is not what I do. And he was so respectful. I'm so confused on the entitlement. And again, it's Donnie's ego got hurt. That's what his ego got hurt. That's what it is. That's all it is.
Let's got a few of these comments here that people have to say. Top comment here says, not me agreeing with men. Ooh. When the chicks are drinking coffee, we know facts are being shared. Somebody else who says, as a gay man, he's 100% wrong. See, you got the gay men here also chiming in. Somebody else who says, this is dangerous. All right. Somebody else who says, he took them back home. Other dudes would have been violent. Yeah, that's a fact.
Not telling him I'm trans.
So I'm here on a first date with my handsome guy that I just met on Tinder.
Hey, what's up?
So I won't tell you his name, but there's something that he doesn't know about me. We're not gonna tell him.
I never saw it. I just saw the amount of
And for my trans girls out there, we should start a trend where we record and show how much guys we can pull without telling them that we're trans. We should do that. That would be iconic on TikTok. That would be, since people always be like, oh, they can tell. We're going to show people how much they can. Let's show the girls and the twinks, bitch. I'm not clockable, hoe.
Masculinity.
Okay. What is the problem, sir? What is the fucking problem? He asked you, were you a man? You say yes. He proceeds to take you home. didn't beat you up, didn't cuss you out. He turned his car around and took you the fuck home, and you still complaining. So because he doesn't want to talk to somebody who has a Johnson & Johnson between their legs, you're upset about that. Oh, he knew I was a man because I'm flat-chested when we met in the club. You know how many women got a flat chest? Whether he knew, he asked you. Long story short, he asked you were you a man, you said yes, and he took you home. There should be no, you shouldn't even made that video. What was that for? Go talk to a man who likes men. There's plenty of men out there who like men. Why you don't go find one of them?
Someone else here says, man, you lucky you made it back. This person here is asking, heterosexuality equals fragile masculinity? Here's someone else who says, so you lied and he's the bad guy? Another person who says, he's lucky it didn't escalate. Here's somebody else who says, he actually was very masculine that he took you home.
Not to date trans people is not merely a preference. Preference when it comes to dating is like liking taller partners, wanting them to have certain hobbies and interests, wanting them to have a certain color eyes or whatever. But when it's a preference, it means that it's an option. But it's not a hard line. It's not a hard no. It's not a hard stop. When someone says that they're not willing to date a trans person, they're drawing a hard line. When you draw that hard line, it shifts from preference to prejudice. Choose not to date somebody because they're trans, regardless of attraction, compatibility, etc., 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 dehumanizes trans people and makes it seem as though trans people are just inherently undateable.
You sound dumb. You sound stupid. And listen, as a married man, yeah, you're right. I drew a very bold line in the sand when I was dating that I wanted to be with a woman that was a naturally born woman. Not a man who transitioned to a woman. I wanted a naturally born woman. There's like 8 billion people in the world or something like that. And out of all the people who love and want to date a trans man or a trans woman, you want to focus on the people who don't. Make that make sense. Why are you so hyper-focused on the people who don't want you? Why don't you spend your time, your attention, your focus on the people who do want to date a trans woman or a trans man? How about that? I guarantee your life would be so much happier. When you step into the realization that you should put your time, your effort, and your energy into the people who accept you for you, instead of trying to change people's thoughts and narrative about who you are as a person, just accept the people who accept you.
Why you shouldn't tell straight guys that you're transgender, because I'm getting a lot of people, presumably from the US of A, telling me about myself and saying that I'm condoning my actions. First of all, I'm not condoning and I'm not preaching that you should do as I do. I'm saying food for thought, maybe do as I do, make sure that you're safe in a public area. And yeah, my argument is that we're not being deceptive or deceitful. Trans is not a bad thing. That's why you're saying, oh, this person's going to get beat the fuck up because you see trans as a bad thing. It's not. That's a you issue. That's why you will be imprisoned if you do something harmful. It's not deceptive. You are there to meet an individual. If you have ulterior motives of trying to get into that person's pants, which a lot of guys do regardless of going on a date with a trans girl, then that's your problem as well. You are supposed to just go on an innocent date with that girl. We are women. It doesn't make you gay. And it's not necessary to say that we're taking that choice away from them. It should be comparable to the thing of like, where if a guy doesn't like that girls are like have like plastic surgery, or like if they're not a natural blonde or whatever, it's comparable to that.
And shut this shit all the way up. Because the truth of the matter is, there's a point in the video where you were like, well, I'm flat chested. Sir, there are women that are flat chested. Okay? And thank God that he kept calm. The fact that you're trying to represent this conversation as fragile masculinity, fragile means that somebody is brittle. That means that they're hurt. This man wasn't hurt. Okay? He was calm and reserved enough to get your ass back home, not do shit, not put his hands on you, not worry about what other people might think. He thought about himself, and you in that car, and in that moment, right? He could have been upset. But he said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drop you off, and I'm probably going to forget this ever happened, okay? You then told that story and took that story to the internet for some goddamn clout. You're weird. You're weird as fuck. But then in a follow-up video, someone said that you should have told him or whatever. And like me, I'm a cisgender man. I look like a man for the most part. I'm not going to go up to a woman and be like, yeah, I'm a cisgender man. But you know that your presentation is feminine. But you are a man. You know this, right? And there could have been a conversation where, hey, I just want to let you know that I am a gay man. I am not a woman, right? I don't know how he would have reacted in that time, but truthfully, letting him know in the conversations that y'all been having, this is your words. You've been having conversations. You could have made sure that you were okay. Right? He's been cool with you. And that's our problem. That's our problem here.
Of course, guys, I'm curious to know what you think. I don't think most people would have been this understanding, this patient, so on and so forth. And this dude still got online to shit on that man. Hey, guys, as always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon-to-be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link into the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.